In the heart of the Galactic Council's Grand Hall, whispers echoed. Aliens from countless star systems gathered, their colors, shapes, and sizes all different, but one thing was the same, the look of fear on their faces. They had gathered to discuss the mysterious creatures known as humans. No one had ever directly fought them and survived to tell the tale. Yet stories of their power spread across the stars. It was said that humans were the boogeymen of the galaxy. Everyone had heard the terrifying tales. Some said that humans could turn invisible on the battlefield, making it impossible to escape from them once you were seen. Others claimed they could destroy entire fleets with only a small number of soldiers, using weapons no one else could understand. The rumors continued. Humans didn't feel pain, they didn't fear death, and once they were angered, they would stop at nothing to get revenge. The council leader, a tall, thin creature with bright golden eyes named Orcs, raised his voice to quiet the crowd. "We have all heard these tales, but we need to understand if humans are truly as dangerous as the legends say," Orcs announced. "We cannot live in fear of creatures we barely know." A small, feathered alien named Nixie nervously raised a hand, her voice shaking. "Leader Orcs, my people live on the outer edge of the galaxy, close to human territory. We've seen their ships. They are massive, silent, and they feel like shadows. We avoid them, but I have heard of other planets disappearing after human ships visit." This statement made the crowd murmur even louder. Many believed the stories, but others thought they were just myths or exaggerations. Surely no creature could be that powerful. A large armored alien named Drakkar shook his head. "These are just ghost stories," he scoffed. "The humans are clever, yes, but they are only flesh and blood. They can't be as strong as we imagine." Drakkar was from a warrior race, known for their bravery, but even he didn't dare move too close to human territory. Perhaps he didn't truly believe his own words. Then another voice joined the discussion. This one belonged to an elder alien, fragile-looking yet wise, who had witnessed countless galactic events. "You may doubt the stories, but there is truth in them. The humans have survived many threats on their own world, threats that would have wiped out any other species. They are not to be underestimated." The hall grew quiet. Even the bravest council members felt a shiver. Humans had a reputation for surviving the impossible, facing disasters head-on, and thriving where others would perish. They didn't just survive, they adapted, they evolved, and they grew stronger each time. To many in the council, this adaptability made humans the most terrifying of all. Leader Orcs looked around the room, his golden eyes thoughtful. "If the stories are true and humans truly possess such strength, then we must be cautious. We cannot provoke them without knowing more." Several council members nodded in agreement, but Drakkar smirked. "Perhaps we should test these boogeymen ourselves," he suggested. "If they are nothing but myths, we have nothing to fear." But Nixie and the elder looked horrified at the suggestion. "A test? Are you mad?" Nixie whispered. "We could be inviting our doom." Yet the council was divided. Some wanted to believe humans were just like any other species, bound by limits. But others saw them as something far more dangerous, something unknown. As the meeting ended, the council agreed on one thing: they needed answers. A small team would be sent to Earth to observe humans up close and find the truth behind the legend. And as the council dispersed, every member felt a deep unease. Whether humans were real or myth, one thing was certain. The galaxy had a shadowy fear of them, a fear they might soon have to face. The Galactic Council had made its decision. To find out if the terrifying stories about humans were true, they would send a small team of their best agents to Earth. This mission was dangerous. No one knew how humans would react if they discovered aliens watching them. Still, the council needed answers. The team consisted of 3 agents: Rin, a skilled tracker with sharp senses; Oza, a technology expert who could blend in anywhere; and Nixie, the cautious yet intelligent alien from the council meeting. She was scared but determined to find the truth. Together, they boarded a small, silent ship and set course for Earth, the mysterious planet at the edge of the galaxy. As they approached Earth, the team marveled at its beauty. Blue oceans covered most of the planet, and green forests stretched across the land. They hadn't expected such a vibrant, lively world. It was hard to imagine that creatures as dangerous as humans could come from such a beautiful place. Rin steered the ship into a hidden orbit, far from human satellites and space stations. They needed to stay completely invisible. If humans noticed them, the mission could end in disaster. Once they were safely hidden, Oza activated the ship's scanners, tuning into human communications to understand their language and culture better. For days, the team listened to broadcasts, watched videos, and read human documents. At first, the humans seemed friendly, even kind. They shared stories, laughed, and helped one another. But as the team dug deeper, they saw another side, a fierce, unbreakable will. Humans had faced countless dangers, wars, natural disasters, and diseases that wiped out millions. Yet each time they survived and grew stronger. "This is strange," Rin murmured as he watched humans rebuilding their cities after a hurricane. "They don't give up, no matter what happens. They rebuild, even when everything is destroyed." Nixie shuddered. "They're resilient. I've never seen a species like this before. It's like they become stronger every time they face something terrible." Oza nodded. "And look at their history. These humans are fighters. They don't just survive, they adapt. They create new ways to overcome every challenge they face." As the team continued to observe, they noticed humans training for battle. Soldiers ran through obstacles, lifting heavy weights and practicing tactics to defeat any enemy. These humans weren't just ordinary beings, they were warriors who trained their minds and bodies to handle any situation. The team understood why the galaxy feared them. These humans were relentless, determined, and prepared for anything. One night, while the team was watching a human military exercise, they saw something that filled them with awe and fear. A group of soldiers was performing a dangerous drill, jumping from helicopters, diving into the ocean, and swimming to shore with heavy gear on their backs. The agents could hardly believe it. Humans were putting themselves through these challenges on purpose. Why would anyone do that to themselves? Nixie whispered. She couldn't imagine her own kind enduring such hardships voluntarily. "It's because they know what's out there," Oza replied. "They know the universe is dangerous, and they're preparing for whatever might come. They're training to face any enemy, any threat." Rin looked back at Earth with a new understanding. "Now I see why the Council calls them Boogeymen. They're not just strong, they're ready for anything." As the mission continued, the team's fear grew. The stories were not just tales. Humans weren't mythical monsters, but they were something far more terrifying. Beings who would do whatever it took to protect their world and survive. And they were incredibly good at it. With their mission nearly complete, the agents prepared to return home. They had seen enough. The rumors were true. Humans were not ordinary. They were resilient, adaptable, and prepared for any battle that might come their way. As the team left Earth's orbit, each of them felt a chill, knowing they would soon face the Galactic Council. They would have to report what they had discovered. Humans were indeed the galaxy's boogeymen, and it would be wise to leave them alone. The alien team had gathered all the information they needed. They knew humans were resilient and well-prepared, but they hadn't come face-to-face with any. The mission had been a success so far, and the agents planned to leave Earth without ever being noticed. But fate had a different plan. As Rin, Nixie, and Oza were finishing their final observations near a quiet human town, a sensor beeped on Oza's console. He stared at the screen, his eyes widening. "We've been detected," he whispered, fear filling his voice. "What? How? We've been so careful." Nixie's heart raced as she looked out the ship's window. In the distance, she saw dark shapes moving toward them, a group of human soldiers, heavily armed and wearing night vision goggles. "We have to get out of here," Rin said, pulling up the ship's controls. But before they could lift off, something unexpected happened. A bright beam of light shot out from one of the humans' devices, hitting their ship. The engine sputtered and died. "They've disabled our ship," Oza said, his voice shaking. "These humans, they're smarter than we thought." The three aliens quickly scrambled out of the ship, hoping to hide in the thick trees nearby. But it was too late. The humans had surrounded them, moving silently, their eyes sharp and focused. Rin, Nixie, and Oza froze, feeling a fear they had never felt before. One of the humans stepped forward, his gaze steady and serious. He held up a hand, signaling his team to hold their fire. The humans didn't attack, they simply watched the aliens, studying them with a mixture of caution and curiosity. For a moment, the aliens and humans just stared at each other, both sides trying to understand what they were seeing. Nixie felt her legs trembling as she looked into the human's eyes. There was something intense, almost piercing in his gaze. She realized these were not monsters or boogeymen. They were intelligent, calculating beings. and they were looking at her as if she were the strange creature. The human leader spoke, his voice calm but firm. "Identify yourselves," he said in a language the aliens barely understood. Though the words were simple, they held a power that made the aliens feel small. Oza tried to speak, his voice barely a whisper. We are explorers. We mean no harm." The human leader raised an eyebrow, clearly not convinced. He spoke again, this time in a harsher tone. "Why are you here? What are you looking for?" Nixie took a deep breath, realizing they had no choice but to be honest. "We came to learn about humans," she admitted. "The stories about your kind, they're terrifying. The galaxy calls you the Boogeymen. We had to see if it was true." The human leader exchanged glances with his team, a hint of a smile appearing on his face. It was as if he found the idea amusing. "Boogeymen, huh?" he murmured, then looked back at the aliens. "We are just people trying to survive, just like everyone else." But the way the humans moved and their calm confidence told the aliens otherwise. These humans weren't ordinary at all. The leader's next words made their fear even stronger. "We will let you leave," he said, lowering his weapon. "But remember this. If you or anyone else returns to Earth without permission, we won't be so welcoming next time." The humans stepped back, allowing the aliens to return to their damaged ship. The agents felt a strange relief, but also a deep respect. These humans had the power to capture or even kill them, yet they showed mercy. The stories were true. Humans were indeed a force to be feared, but not just because of their strength. Their calm, quiet confidence was even more terrifying. As Rin, Nixie, and Oza finally lifted off from Earth, they looked back at the planet one last time. They had come face to face with the boogeymen of the galaxy and had survived. But the memory of those piercing human eyes would stay with them forever. One thing was certain, the galaxy would be wise to leave humans alone. When Rin, Nixie, and Oza returned to their home base in the Galactic Council, they were nervous. They had witnessed humans up close and felt the weight of their reputation. As they entered the meeting chamber, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Council members filled the room, their expressions a mix of curiosity and anxiety. The leader of the council, a tall being with shimmering scales, stood at the front. "Report!" he commanded, his voice echoing off the walls. Rin stepped forward, his heart pounding. "We went to Earth to learn the truth about humans. The rumors of their strength and resilience are true. They are not just stories. Humans are powerful beings who fight fiercely for their survival." A murmur spread through the chamber. Council members exchanged worried glances, and some even gasped. "Are they really as dangerous as they say?" one counselor asked, her eyes wide. "Yes," Nixie spoke up, her voice steady despite her fear. "When we encountered them, they were not just soldiers. They were clever and adaptable. They are willing to protect their home at any cost." Oza nodded. "They let us leave without harm, but they made it clear that if we ever returned without permission, we would not be welcomed. They are fierce protectors of their planet." The council fell silent, absorbing the weight of their words. For generations, the galaxy had feared humans, treating them as the ultimate threat. But hearing first-hand accounts changed everything. The stories about humans had spread like wildfire, but now they faced the truth. Finally, the council leader spoke again. "This information is alarming. We cannot ignore what we have learned. If humans are indeed this strong and willing to fight, we must prepare ourselves. A united front is essential." Another counselor, who had always viewed humans as a mere curiosity, chimed in. "What if we reach out to them? Perhaps they can be allies instead of enemies. We should learn from them." The idea sparked a heated debate among the council members. Some argued for peace and cooperation, while others insisted on preparing for war. The room buzzed with voices, and Rin, Nixie, and Oza listened closely, realizing they had changed the course of galactic history. After hours of discussion, the council finally reached a decision. They would send a delegation to Earth to establish communication. The idea was risky, but they believed it was worth exploring. Humans were dangerous, but they were also intelligent beings. Perhaps they could find common ground. Days later, the Galactic Council's delegation boarded a sleek, advanced ship. Rin, Nixie, and Oza watched as their fellow counselors prepared for the journey. They felt a mix of hope and dread. Would the humans accept their overtures? Would they be met with hostility or friendship? As the ship left the station and traveled towards Earth, the delegates prepared for their mission. They reviewed their messages, practiced their languages, and discussed ways to approach the humans without provoking fear. They all knew the risks of meeting the boogeymen again. Finally, the ship arrived in Earth's orbit. The delegation sent a signal, requesting permission to land. They waited anxiously, feeling the weight of their decision. Seconds felt like hours as they watched Earth spin beneath them, its beauty both inviting and intimidating. At last, they received a response. The humans had agreed to their request. With nervous excitement, the delegation descended to the surface, landing in a wide, open field. They stepped out of their ship, hearts racing, and looked around. The humans had gathered to greet them, soldiers, civilians, and curious children. All watched with cautious eyes. Rin, Nixie, and Oza stood beside their fellow delegates, feeling both terrified and hopeful. This was their chance to communicate, to build a bridge between two worlds. As the first human stepped forward, the aliens held their breath. Would this be a meeting of peace, or would it escalate into conflict? The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and they were ready to face whatever came next. The atmosphere was tense as the delegation from the Galactic Council stood before the humans. Rin, Nixie, and Oza could feel the weight of every eye upon them. They had come to Earth with a message of peace, but they also knew the humans were known for their unpredictable reactions. The human leader, a tall man with short dark hair and a serious expression, stepped forward. "You come here from the Galactic Council. What do you want?" he asked, his voice firm but curious. Rin cleared his throat, feeling the pressure. "We wish to talk. We want to understand each other better," he said, trying to convey sincerity. "We know the galaxy fears humans, but we believe it is time to change that perception." The human leader nodded, listening carefully. "We've heard many stories about you and your kind. They call you the Boogeymen of the galaxy. Why should we trust you?" Nixie stepped forward, feeling brave. "Because we have seen your strength. We met your soldiers and they showed mercy. We are not your enemies. We want to learn from you and work together." There was a murmur among the humans. The children watched with wide eyes, and the adults whispered to one another, unsure of how to react. The tension was thick, but the aliens held their ground, determined to break through the barriers of fear. Suddenly, a younger human, a woman with bright red hair, raised her voice. "What if we don't want to be your allies? What if we want to protect ourselves from you?" Her challenge echoed across the field, and the delegation felt the weight of her words. "We understand your fears," Oza replied, his voice steady. "But we are here to warn you. If you treat us as enemies, it could lead to conflict. We know the stories and we are aware of your power. You must also know that we have strength as well." The humans looked uneasy, exchanging glances. The word conflict hung heavily in the air, like a storm cloud threatening to break. Rin took a deep breath, knowing this was a pivotal moment. "Listen," Rin continued, "the galaxy is vast and full of dangers. There are many races that do not see humans as a threat but as an opportunity. If you unite with us, we can stand together against those who might wish to harm Earth. If you reject us, it could lead to chaos." The human leader's expression softened slightly. "You say you want peace, but how can we be sure you won't turn on us?" His voice was serious, but there was a hint of curiosity beneath his caution. "We are not here to conquer. We want to protect," Nixie insisted. "We have seen what happens when fear takes over. It can destroy worlds and friendships. We offer a hand of peace, not a weapon." The humans whispered among themselves again. Some looked uncertain, while others seemed more open to the idea. Rin could see that doubt was starting to fade, replaced by the possibility of understanding. After a moment, the human leader spoke again, his voice firm but measured. "If we agree to this, what does it mean for our people? Will we be safe? Will we be treated as equals?" "Absolutely," Oza replied, his confidence growing. "You will be our partners. We will share knowledge, technology, and protection. Together, we can face any threat that comes our way." The human leader took a step back, contemplating their words. "I cannot make this decision alone. We must discuss this further. But I will say this, the tales of humans being the Boogeymen are not entirely false. We are strong, and we will protect what is ours." A murmur of agreement swept through the crowd. The humans began to show signs of acceptance, nodding at one another and whispering words of encouragement. The delegation from the Galactic Council watched as hope began to blossom in the hearts of the humans. "We appreciate your honesty," Rin said, relief flooding through him. "But remember, we come as friends. Together, we can change the stories of fear into stories of strength." As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the field, both sides began to realize that this was not just a meeting, it was the beginning of a new alliance. The galaxy would see that the so-called Boogeymen were not monsters, but potential allies. The true test was yet to come, but for now, hope shone brightly in the hearts of both humans and aliens. This was just the beginning of a long journey towards understanding and cooperation. The galaxy would never be the same again.